Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Risdiyanti. I'm from PBA3. For this occasion, I will explain about verbal pattern. The definition of verbal pattern is a form of communication that uses words or sentences. So now I will explain about the communication culture in America. Okay, Americans often use the expression thank you. For example, in response to I like the color of your car, Americans might say thank you. In this case, no price or price was given, but thank you is an automatic response. And when we listen to people speaking in a foreign language, you understanding, we notice that native speakers of the language use words and phrases in a different ways than usual. In American English, for example, people often say thank you. Five words thank you is in almost every language, but how and when it is used is not always the same. In your language, do you thank other for travel and important or unusual help? For American, this expression is used as a polite response to a various of favors and compliment and is often automatic. For example, thank you for calling someone on the phone. And then straightforwardness in American English. Compared to other language, American English is a very important measure of candor in verbal interaction. Many expressions exemplify this tendency. Don't be word. Let's get started in business and get to the point. Also, impatience by avoiding trouble. Candor is also seen when information is requested from strangers or from people you don't know. For example, when passing by a professor's office, students might say, "Sorry, I have a question." You have someone question. The professor might reply, "Sure, the, to the right 5 ahead. What is the problem?" In this interaction, the student states its goal and the professor immediately responds. Over and response to over provide another example of candor in verbal interaction. At a dinner party, it was not usual to hear the following conversation. Homemaster, would you like more dessert? And goes, no, thank you. It is good, but I'm fit up. And then homemaster, okay, why don't we leave the table and sit in the living room? In this conversation between two Americans, the aunts did not repeat the 5 hours more than once. The house might offer a meal twice, but usually no more than that. If a guest is hungry, they need to say directly, "Yes, I like it again. Thanks." If they're not hungry, but say, "No, thanks," because of politeness, they may remain hungry for the rest of the night. A house will perceive a guest's refusal to be honest and direct. Of course, there is a limit to degree of directness a person is allowed to express, especially with people of higher status such as teachers and employers. A male student was surprised by the female teacher's reaction when she said, "What happened to you? You look like you have gained a lot of weight." When the teacher replied, "That's none of your business," she replied embarrassedly, "I just become honest." In this case, her honesty and candor was underserved and respected. Because of the teacher-student relationship, plus most Americans don't like being told they are fat. Next is invitation. Invitation, an often misunderstood area of American verbal interaction, is extended, accepting, and rejecting invitation. The unwritten rules are confusing and create misunderstanding even for native speakers. In English, someone might say something that sounds like an invitation, but that never results in an actual meeting with another person. Of course, there are invitations that require of definite commitment. Compare these two invitations. Okay, the first invitation, Katie. Nice talking to you. I have to run to class. And Darlene, okay, maybe we can meet in the near future. And then Katie sighed, yes, happy. Why don't you stop by my house sometimes? And Darlene answered, good, must go. See you again. And then the second invitation, Katie, before leaving for vacation, can we get together and have lunch? And Darlene, sure, with pleasure. And Katie said, how about Friday? Say about um, a quarter to one at my place. Darlene, that's fine. See you later. The first invitation made no promise and means nothing more than a polite expression. And then in the second dialogue, the original invite time is extended because Katie has a definite planned lunch date, a specific date, time in mind, Friday, quarter to 1 p.m. If Katie had just said drop by, Darlene probably wouldn't have visited Katie. And then the next is talking and refrain from talking much. The rules governing speech patterns are learned in childhood, and people grow up thinking that everyone has the same rules of speech. People unconsciously expect others to use the same mode of expression as they do. For example, not all language use silence and deep interruption. 5. In the same way, when we observe the way people from different cultures use silence, we've noticed that some people interrupt conversation more frequently than others. All cultures do not have the rule governing this area of communication. Many Americans interpret silence in conversation as disapproval, disagreement, or unsuccessful communication. They often try to fill the silence by saying something, even though they have nothing to say. On the other hand, America do not value people who dominate conversation. Knowing when to take turns in a conversation in another language can sometimes cause difficulties. If we wait until someone has finished a sentence before contributing to a discussion, or we fall into the middle of someone's sentences, interpreting someone who is speaking is considered rude in the United States. Even 5 years old were explicitly taught not to interrupt. Different ways of expressing general needs. Everyone in every culture has the same basic needs, but your expression is different. In everyday life, we all start conversation, use formal and informal speeches, give praise, express disapproval, seek information, and extend invitation. Some of the verbal patterns we use are influenced by our culture. Whereas candor in speech is common in the United States, indirect is the rule in some parts of the Far East. Those people from both parts of the world will probably express their criticism of others differently. In some parts of the Middle East, the host is expected to over meal several times, but in the United States, he might only make 10 hours once or twice. Different modes of expression differentiate variation on the same theme. Every language reflects and creates its cultural attitude. Each has a unique way of expressing human needs. Okay, guys. Okay, guys, I think that's all my explanation about verbal pattern. Thank you for your attention and sorry for every mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.